Gentlemen, here is a truth most men over 60 have never been told, and it may shock you. The harder you try to force an erection, the more your body quietly shuts it down. Not because you are broken, not because you are weak, but because after 60, effort is no longer what creates erections. In fact, effort is often what destroys them. For many of you, this struggle happens in silence. You lie there feeling desire in your mind, yet your body hesitates, fades, or goes numb. You feel the pressure to hurry before it's gone. You tense your muscles. You hold your breath. You push yourself mentally, hoping willpower will make your body respond. And when it doesn't, the disappointment cuts deep. Here's the paradox no one ever explained. Erections are not a strength response. They are a calm response. The more relaxed your nervous system is, the stronger your erection potential becomes. The more anxious, rushed, or pressured you feel, the faster your body moves into shutdown mode. But here is the promise I want you to hear clearly. This is not a long process. When you activate the right nerve the right way, your body can begin responding differently within 24 hours, sometimes sooner. No forcing, no embarrassment, just working with your biology instead of fighting it. My name is Dr. Elena. I am a board-certified urologist, and for more than 30 years, I've helped men over 60 understand why their bodies changed and how to safely, naturally bring confidence and performance back. Before we go any further, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that now and turn on the notification bell. And in the comments, type 1 if this message resonates with you, or 0 if you want me to improve it. 1. Why erections fail after 60 is not what you think. Let me begin with a truth that many men are not prepared to hear. For most men over 60, erections do not fade because the body has reached its limit. They fade because the body has learned to protect itself for too long. This distinction matters because it shifts the story from loss to understanding. I have sat with men who believed their bodies had simply given up on them. Men who did everything right their entire lives. They worked hard, stayed disciplined, and carried responsibility quietly for decades. And now, in the most private moments, they feel betrayed by a body that no longer responds the way it once did. What most men don't understand is that the aging male body does not shut down intimacy. It tightens, it guards, it stays alert. Years of stress, pressure, and self-expectation condition the nervous system to remain on high alert even when the danger is long gone. And an alert body cannot open itself to arousal. After 60, the nervous system becomes the gatekeeper. If it senses urgency, pressure, or fear of failure, it redirects blood away from the penis without asking permission. This is why so many men describe erections that start but don't last, or respond one day and disappear the next. There is a quiet sadness in realizing this. Many men blame themselves, but the truth is far more compassionate. Your body has not abandoned you. It has simply been speaking a language you were never taught to understand. And once you recognize that erections after 60 are not a test of strength, but a reflection of internal calm, something begins to shift. This understanding is where relief begins. Because if the problem were truly age alone, there would be nothing you could do. But if the problem is a nervous system stuck in protection mode, then there is a clear path forward. 2. The nerve that decides everything. There is a moment every man over 60 remembers, even if he never talks about it. The moment when desire is there, the situation is right, the connection is real. And yet, the body hesitates. What if I told you the real decision was made long before that moment by a system you were never taught to notice? Here is the shock most men never hear. Erections are not controlled by desire, attraction, or effort. They are controlled by your nervous system, and after 60, that system becomes the final authority. Your nervous system exists for one reason: survival. It constantly asks, am I safe right now? When the answer is yes, the body opens. Muscles soften, blood vessels widen, intimacy becomes possible. But when the answer is no, even subtly, the body closes itself off instantly. For many older men, the nervous system has spent years living in a state of vigilance. Decades of pressure, responsibility, and unspoken worries condition the body to stay alert. Even in moments that should feel calm, the system remains guarded, and a guarded body cannot surrender to arousal. This is why erections after 60 feel unpredictable. One night things work, the next night they don't. The inconsistency creates anxiety, and that anxiety sends the nervous system an even stronger message that something is wrong. What makes this so painful is that men often internalize the failure. But the nervous system does not care about pride or masculinity. It cares about safety. If it senses pressure or fear of failure, it chooses protection every time. Yet there is something quietly reassuring in this truth. Because if one system is deciding everything, then learning how to communicate with that system changes everything. The nervous system is listening, and when approached the right way, it can be guided back into a state where intimacy feels safe again. 3. Meet the vagus nerve, your hidden erection switch. For years, the power to restore your erections was never missing. It was simply hidden in plain sight. While men were taught to chase hormones and blood flow, the true switch was quietly deciding everything in the background. That switch is the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is a communication highway that runs from your brain down through your heart, lungs, stomach, and into the very center of your pelvic system. It is the nerve that tells your body whether it is safe enough to let go. When this nerve is active, the body softens, blood vessels open, pelvic muscles release their grip. Blood is finally allowed to move freely where it matters most. This is not arousal created by excitement. This is arousal allowed by calm, and that difference changes everything. When the vagus nerve is quiet or blocked by years of stress, the opposite happens. The chest tightens, breathing becomes shallow. Blood flow is restricted not because something is broken, but because the body is still guarding itself. I have watched men sit in front of me, convinced their problem lived in their penis. When I explained that the real issue lived in the nervous system's ability to relax, many of them grew quiet. Not because they were confused, but because something finally made sense. There is something deeply emotional about this realization. You stop seeing yourself as someone who is failing and begin to see yourself as someone whose body has been waiting for the right signal. The vagus nerve is that signal. And here is the part that stays with many men long after they hear it. You do not activate this nerve by trying harder. You activate it by slowing down, by breathing differently, by sending a message of safety instead of urgency. 4. Why pills don't fix the root problem. Let me say something that may surprise you. The very thing many men turn to for reassurance can quietly train the body to stay disconnected. Not because pills are evil, but because they address blood flow without addressing the reason blood flow stopped responding in the first place. I've watched men place enormous hope in a small tablet, and when it works, the relief is real but brief. When it doesn't, the disappointment cuts deeper than before. What hurts most is not the physical failure, it's the feeling of dependence. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Medications can force blood into the penis, but they cannot convince the nervous system that it is safe. And after 60, safety is the deciding factor. If the nervous system remains guarded, the erection created by medication often feels fragile. This is not because your body is resisting you. It is because your body is still listening to the same message it has learned over decades. Stay alert, stay protected. A pill does not change that message. There is also a quiet emotional toll. Relying on medication can make intimacy feel scheduled instead of spontaneous. It can pull you out of the moment and into your head. Instead of connection, there is calculation. Over time, this erodes the very intimacy men are trying to preserve. I have seen men who assumed medication was their only option regain confidence once they understood this distinction. When they stopped seeing pills as the solution and started seeing them as a temporary aid at best, something shifted. This does not mean medication has no place. It means it should never be the foundation. When the body feels calm and safe, blood flow follows naturally, often more reliably than any pill could promise. 5. The 60-second technique that rebuilds the signal. What I'm about to tell you may feel almost too simple to be true. After years of being told that erections require strength or medication, the idea that 60 seconds could change how your body responds feels impossible. But here is the shock most men never hear. The fastest way to restore erection reliability after 60 is not by adding more effort, but by removing the tension your body has been holding for decades. Your body has been listening to your breath your entire life. Shallow, rushed breathing signals danger. Slow, controlled breathing signals safety. And safety is the language erections respond to. The technique itself is simple. You breathe in slowly through your nose for 4 seconds, allowing the air to fill your chest and abdomen. You hold that breath gently for 2 seconds. Then you exhale through your mouth for 8 full seconds, letting the breath leave your body completely. This long exhale activates the pathway that tells your nervous system, you are safe now. You repeat this cycle 3 times, less than 1 minute. And yet within that minute, the internal environment begins to change. Blood pressure lowers, heart rate slows, pelvic muscles begin to relax. I've had men sit across from me, skeptical and emotionally tired. They agree to try it simply because they feel they have nothing left to lose. And after 60 seconds, they look up at me with surprise in their eyes. They describe a warmth they haven't felt in years. Not an erection yet, but the foundation for one. What makes this technique powerful is not just what it creates, but what it prevents. It stops the spiral of overthinking. It interrupts performance anxiety. It pulls you out of your head and back into your body. This is why I encourage men to use this before intimacy, not during panic. Do it before bed. Do it before touch. Let your body arrive first. When calm comes first, arousal follows naturally. 6. The ear connection. Most men never learned what I'm about to share often catches men completely off guard because it doesn't look like medicine and it doesn't feel like effort. Some of the most powerful signals in the human body come from the quietest places. One of those places is your ear. Branches of the vagus nerve pass through specific areas of the ear. This means gentle stimulation there can send a calming signal straight to the brain, bypassing thought, bypassing effort, bypassing anxiety. The technique itself is gentle. You place your thumb just behind the ear, your index finger inside the front fold. You move slowly in small circles for a few seconds forward and then back. You breathe naturally while you do it. There is no force involved because force would defeat the purpose. What makes this so meaningful for many men is not just the physical response, but the emotional one. For the first time in a long while, the body responds without being pushed. The nervous system simply begins to settle the way it was meant to. I remember a man in his late 60s who tried this quietly during a session. After a minute, he stopped and looked at me with tears in his eyes. He said, "I didn't realize how tense I've been for so many years." This technique works best when paired with the breathing method you just learned. You can use it after a stressful day, before intimacy, even while sitting alone. Every time you do, you are reinforcing the same message. You are safe. 7. The biggest mistake men over 60 make in the bedroom. Here is a moment that breaks more confidence than most men will ever admit. The moment your body finally responds again, and instead of relief, fear rushes in. Fear of losing it. Fear that it won't last. That fear, more than age or health, is what quietly sabotages erections after 60. I have watched this happen countless times. The instant a man feels an erection returning, his mind races. He rushes. He tightens. He holds his breath. He treats the erection like a fragile prize that must be used before it vanishes. In that exact moment, the nervous system senses urgency and it shuts everything down. This is not because the erection was weak. It is because the state that created it was interrupted. After 60, erections are not a switch you flip. They are a state you maintain. And that state requires patience, softness, and time. There is something deeply emotional about this cycle. Men blame themselves. They feel embarrassed. They begin to dread intimacy instead of enjoying it. Some avoid closeness altogether, not because they don't want it, but because they're tired of the disappointment. What many men don't realize is that this mistake comes from caring too much. The desire to please, the fear of failing, the need to prove you still can. All of it is understandable, but after 60, these emotions must be managed gently. I often use a simple analogy. Imagine starting an engine that hasn't been used in years. If you rev it hard the moment it turns over, it stalls. But if you let it warm slowly, it runs smoothly. Your body works the same way now. This is why foreplay is no longer optional. It is essential. Slow touch, deep breathing, staying present. When men learn to stay in the moment rather than rush toward an outcome, erections not only last longer, they feel more natural. The most powerful shift happens when you stop treating the erection as the goal and start treating calm connection as the goal. The erection follows on its own. 8. Daily habits that rebuild confidence. Here is the shock most men never expect. Erections after 60 are not rebuilt in the bedroom. They are rebuilt quietly during ordinary moments through the habits you repeat every single day. Many men believe intimacy fails suddenly, but in reality, the nervous system is shaped hour by hour. Long periods of sitting, shallow breathing, poor sleep, constant mental pressure. Over time, these patterns teach the body to stay guarded. The good news is that this process works in both directions. Just as stress trained your body to tighten, simple daily habits can retrain it to open again. Strength training, even twice a week, sends a powerful message to your body that you are still capable. Gentle cardiovascular movement improves circulation to the entire vascular system. Sleep is another quiet cornerstone. When sleep is restful, the nervous system resets and hormones balance. Then there is stress itself. Learning to set boundaries, to slow down, to say no when necessary is not weakness. It is regulation. And finally, there is breath. Just a few slow, intentional breaths in the morning and again at night remind your body that it is safe to relax. What makes these habits powerful is not any single action. It is the accumulation. Over time, the body begins to respond differently. Erections feel more reliable. Confidence returns quietly. Men often tell me they didn't realize how much tension they were carrying until it was gone. They thought aging had taken something from them. In truth, it had only asked them to live differently. 9. Conclusion. Your body is not broken. Gentlemen, if you take only one message from everything we've discussed, let it be this. Your body did not betray you. It adapted. It protected you. And now it is waiting for you to listen differently. For far too long, men over 60 have been told that fading erections are simply the price of aging. That belief has caused more harm than any physical change ever could, because it convinced good men to stop believing in their own bodies. What you've learned here is not a trick, it is an understanding. You now know that erections after 60 are about safety, calm, and regulation. They are about speaking to your nervous system in a language it understands. You've seen how the body shuts down when it feels rushed, and how it opens when it feels safe. You've learned that one nerve quietly controls that switch, and that simple actions like breathing, gentle stimulation, patience, and daily habits can restore what many men thought was lost forever. None of this requires you to become someone new. It simply asks you to stop fighting who you already are. There is a deep relief that comes when men realize this. I've watched men sit taller, breathe deeper, and reconnect with parts of themselves they had quietly grieved. You are not late, you are not behind, and you are certainly not alone. Millions of men your age carry the same silent doubts. The difference is not in whose body works and whose doesn't. The difference is who learns the truth and who continues to suffer in silence. If you choose to take one small step tonight, whether it's 60 seconds of breathing, slowing down instead of rushing, or simply letting go of the urge to force, you are already changing the direction of your story. Your value as a man has never been measured by performance. It has always been measured by presence, connection, and confidence. Those qualities do not fade with age. They deepen when you allow them to. So remember this as you move forward. Your body is not broken. Your nervous system is listening. And when you choose calm over pressure, patience over fear, and understanding over force, you give your body permission to respond again. Your best days of intimacy, confidence, and connection are not behind you. They are waiting for you to meet them differently. And that choice, starting now, is entirely yours. Remove these words.